Well, what's poppin'? Happy Saturday, everybody. It is good to see everybody reporting live from Minnesota. Moving and grooving. Got an event out here this weekend being put on by TGF. So excited for the turnout. It's going to be manana. But today, I'm even more excited about today's book club discussion. You know the vibes. If you've been here before, if this is your first time, we do this every Saturday morning, where we discuss a actual um piece of oh it's okay. No worries. We discuss a book that pertains to one of the categories, whether it be finances, spirituality, whether it be mentality, but something that helps you along the lines of developing your journey as an entrepreneur, your journey as an individual. What I've learned to be true, I'm gonna step outside. There's a lot going on. What I've learned to be true about books is that all the answers you need are in them. Just most people don't pick them up and read them. So what I love about this space is one, majority of the time we find the resources for you guys, so you don't have to worry about buying the book. If you need access to the free copy or the free audio, let us know. We can get that to you. But the book that we're covering today and for the next few weeks is The Power of Awareness by Mr. Neville. Um, and my guy is truly one of one in the aspect of the power of being present and understanding your untapped potential. I loved these first 5 chapters, and I'm excited to see exactly what you guys got out of it. And as we go, like I was saying prior to, these chapters are very short, literally like 2-3 pages long, but they're packed with a lot of value and a lot of depth. And I realized that if I had read this book sooner, I would have been even more intentional as I had grown in my awareness through experience. So, one, don't take it for granted. Y'all make sure you guys actually read, and then y'all reflect on what it is that you guys are reading. That's what this space is for, so that we can collaborate and discuss some of the biggest points. But for those who may have not read, it's totally fine. Towards the end of the discussion, if you get called, we like to do this kind of popcorn style. If you get called, just talk about some of the biggest things that stood out to you on what everybody else was discussing. But for those who read, chapter 1 was I Am, chapter 2 was Consciousness, chapter 3 was The Power of Assumption, chapter 4 was Desire, and chapter 5 is The Truth That Sets You Free. Now, is anybody feeling free enough to kick us off and talk about what stood out to them? Badoo boo.
Whoa.
What's popping, Amber?
This, hey, what's up? This book was crazy. Love it. I love how dense it is. Like every single sentence, you have to pause and read it over and over and over again to be able to digest it. So let me go back on my notes because it's crazy. So one of the things that stood out for me immediately, so I just kind of like read over the paragraph and then said it to myself, like in my own words, so I could like really get it in. That's what I wrote. Consciousness is one manifesting in legions. Legions means many, like vast, many numbers of people. So there's no one that is not all that is. So that means we're all one, and we're all God, we're all consciousness, we're all the I am, and we're just freaking like separated into many different parts of us, but we're all connected in one. It's because consciousness is not divisible. So it's like what it means. It can't be divided. So it's not that we're divided, we're just expanded amongst one another, different people. So it cannot be separated. The next set of notes that I wrote down is I am who we say we are. So one of the things that I like from this concept, I am that I am. I remember a couple of years ago, whenever I was going through it and I was like seeking the truth. I was seeking answers. I was seeking literally, I'm like, what does the truth mean? They keep saying the truth will set you free. And I needed to be set free from a lot of pain in the moment. And so I just kept asking God. I was like, what is that? What does that mean? And, asking you shall receive. And so over time, like it was the year of like 2020. I had just kept asking, and I was like, what does this truth mean? And like for me, I need stuff broken down to me like very ABC 1, 2, 3 level. And so that's what I was asking God. I was like, help me, help me. And so there's this day where I was listening to an audio that one of my mentors made. She had made a documentary, and she was a documentary about her own healing. And then in the healing, she had just said it perfectly where it hit me. Like I'd heard it before, but in that moment it hit me. And then she said, she was just talking about her healing, and she was like, I needed to remind myself of the truth. And in that moment, it caught me because I had been searching for like that answer. And the next sentence that she said was, I am incredible. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, oh, the truth is who you say you are. The truth is who I say I am. The truth is I am that I am. The truth is the words that come out of my mouth. Like it's just so depth. There's just so much levels to it. And honestly, if I wasn't like driving right now, I could keep talking about this topic forever and ever and ever. It's just so, let's see, another set of notes that I wrote. This principle governs every aspect of your life, be it social, financial, intellectual, or spiritual. And so one thing that it was talking about was it was saying that the structure of your mind, the way that you view your mind, the way that you view yourself is what you are experiencing around you, is the experience around you. Like that's when it was talking about consciousness. And when I had highlighted, so this principle governs every aspect of your life. So in every aspect of your life, every single detail of your life is based on your own consciousness. It's based on how you view yourself, how you are thinking of yourself. Like like when you like in one of the paragraphs it says, I am unwell. Like whenever you say you're sick, you have to be sick. You're saying that you're sick. So whenever we say affirmations and we say, I am well, I'm healthy, I'm whole, I am complete. When we continue to say that and we continue to like raise our vibration to that level of believing that, our consciousness, our universe, every part of our being, our bodies has to raise to that level. It has to, it's law. So that's what I got from that part too. Just kind of like verified everything. Consciousness, let's see, the power of assumption, desire. The truth will set you free. I was listening to it and I was reading it like over and over and over again. And at the end, when it said the truth will set you free, obviously the story I just told you, that chapter, I was like, it talked about the imagination, and it talks about how the last sentence like really got me. Like it said, your imagination, some people call it your imagination, or some people call it God. And the more that I've just been in my development of understanding all of who God is and who I am and how, this works, I just started to realize that like that's what it really means to have we have the power inside of our mind. We transform our mind, we transform our consciousness. Our imagination and what we believe could be happen, what we believe can happen will happen. And that is creation. That is God. That is our imagination. It's in our mind. So I can keep going off, and it was just amazing and incredible. So let's see. Who go next? I want to click on Imani. I know she was excited.
Oh, y'all. So I be feeling old because I can't ever find the unmute button. Um, Hi, y'all, for happy Saturday. I hope y'all doing good in Minnesota, right? Yeah, Minnesota. Yeah. So this
We
book
still got people in Texas too, Greg.
was
You know the vibes. We all over.
okay. So this book was wild for me because I actually like had this experience recently that catapulted me on like a brand new spiritual journey. And I got into a car accident after I got into a major car accident, and I really wasn't paying attention. Was like praying the night before, and like just my mind was everywhere, and I did not see that car, so I ran right into the back of this lady, but she didn't like do anything, so I was fine. Um, but the message was awareness, to be aware. And when Amber told me about this book, I was like, oh, okay. So listening to it, because I got the audio book, And listening to it, I realized how deep the power of awareness really goes, because he's talking about how we create our own lives. And you don't think about that when you're a child and you're going through all these different traumas and things that can change your life. And your brain responds and creates these new issues. I don't know. I can't even decipher some of it. I have to listen to it like 3 or 4 times just to let it sink in. But I started to understand the awareness of my higher self. Like, we are all connected as a collective. So everything that we do is a reflection of ourselves, but everything everybody else does is also a reflection of ourselves, because that's an extended version of ourselves, because we're a reflection of ourselves. So I was like, yeah, I'm still processing it, honestly. But like having that awareness of, oh, I am, and what I create is my desire. So recently I have been saying multiple times that I wanted to quit my job. And my father convinced me, out of all people, to not quit. But I asked and I asked. And one day I went into work and I didn't even have the choice. It was like, you can put your 2 weeks in, or, I'm like, okay, this is what's happening. I'm going to go ahead and leave, because that was my desire. And I created this moment. I read the book after, but I looked back and realized the power of creation is really truly inside of us, because everything we see, like everywhere, the people on this call, is a direct reflection of ourselves. And then just a quick thing, the guy's voice on the audio, I don't know if anybody else got the audio, but it was ridiculously boring. But it was so interesting to kind of have this self-awareness. It's like self and connecting to self while interacting with self. And I'm done on that, because my brain is still everywhere. Let's see, who am I gonna call on? I have no clue who Austin is, but I'm gonna hit Austin. Austin, it's on you.
My fault, my fault. Oh, it's a little loud in here. I'm gonna step outside real fast. What is going on, my people? Actually, I muted his loud down. It's gonna echo, so my apologies. Let me get to the beginning. So I actually have never read this book, and I honestly love it because it's very biblically based, in my opinion. I guess not really my opinion. That's just what I see. But the first thing that I got from chapter one, not sure if anybody touched on it yet, but I am says I am is the self-definition of the absolute foundation on which everything rests. I am is the first cause substance, and I am is the self-definition of God. God literally called himself the great I am. So I think it's really powerful that we are able to literally affirm within ourselves and within like our lives in the universe, the world, whatever you want to call it, what exactly that we are, and we can create our own reality. Marcus, will you show this window real fast? Hi, Brooklyn. Sorry, it was echoing. It was echoing a little bit, so it's tripping me up. But yeah, no, so I just think it's really amazing that just by simply saying exactly what we are, believing in it, and moving in exactly what we say, that we can literally create the reality that we want, or that we desire. So let me go to this next part. So, sorry, trying to find what I was trying to touch on here. Everything. So, oh, maybe not. Okay, so it says I am is the feeling of permanent awareness, which is, I don't know, crazy, because like over this course of my journey, just becoming more aware of exactly it is, or how powerful it is, like our thoughts, our words, our actions, in creating the reality. And everyone in a general just kind of think, or thinks of it as a coincidence, but just becoming, since I became more aware of exactly how, like I said, how powerful we are as human beings and as creators, um, just how we talk about ourselves um, is really, I don't know, it's really crazy because I've just noticed certain things in my life, just from, thinking about them, saying affirmations and things, and then watching those things happen. It's really wild how God moves and how He works in our life, and not only wild, but it is amazing. I've seen Him literally move mountains from just me writing down affirmations every single day, what I am, what I want to be, and then moving and taking the actual action steps to become that. So that's really, I like what Amber touched on too, within chapter 1 and what she got from it. And then going on to chapter 2, is the only sorry. Sorry, I'm just trying to talk or find the main points I was trying to touch on here. So okay, so this one thing that really stood out to me in this chapter was where it said that you and your environment cannot be regarded as existing separately. You and the world are one. So honestly, most of my life, I'm sure most everybody kind of thinks of it, it's you and then there's the rest of the world type thing. But we literally are all coexisting as one giant entity that God created. So like that's why I feel like it is super powerful that like what we put out into the universe we get back. Sorry, my laptop keeps tipping down. But um sorry, my brain is all over the place right now. A lot of emotions going on today. But yeah, I think just to really create the life that you want to and to really become the person that you want to be, you really have to get in tune with yourself and with the universe, because God God is literally everywhere. So and He lives within us. So the more positivity that we spread, the more love and kindness that we show to others, the more we are going to get back. So I just honestly really love honestly, I really love this book. It's very short book, but it's very powerful in its message. And then chapter 3, honestly, was probably out of all of these that we read so far, probably the one that stood out to me the most. Because a lot of people say, I guess, don't assume because I'm sure a lot of people know the phrase. It makes a blank out of you and me. But honestly, just the way that they define it in the book about how if you assume you are, this person that you want to become, you essentially will create exactly that reality that you want to live in. And let's see here. So, and then he said, if you refuse to assume the responsibility of the incarnation of a new and higher concept of yourself, then you reject the means, the only means by whereby your redemption, that is, the attainment of your ideal, and it can be affected. And it says the imagination is the only redemptive power in the universe. So, um, and I never really realized how like powerful the imagination was until, like I said, coming around this community at TGF and just being in the space that we've been in, well, that I've been in, and a lot of us have been in for the last year, maybe few years. But how powerful that your brain is, and like how you can literally manifest and bring to fruition exactly what it is and how it is that you want to live within the world just by simply thinking about it, feeling it, and then moving in accordance to that. So honestly, it's really amazing to think how, like I said, I don't know, I'm just kind of blown away about how powerful our mind is, and like how just by becoming aware of certain things within our life, like how drastically we can change. And there is the saying that I'm sure we've all heard, change your thoughts, change your life. Um, and so, and then we've all heard it before too, like what you think about most, what you do the most, who you surround yourself with is exactly who you're going to become. So, um, and then chapter 4. I guess I just kind of touched on that as well. Like your desire to really become, it all starts with your desire, you know what I mean? To become exactly who it is that you want to be. And then really feel those things on a daily basis and repeat them over and over to yourself, by writing them down or saying them out loud or in your mind. Um, and then chapter 5. So okay, so I liked the how he started off the second paragraph where he said, "Since your life is determined by your assumptions, you are forced to recognize the fact that you are either a slave to your assumptions or their master. To become the master of your assumptions is the key to undreamed of freedom and happiness." I don't know, that read weird to me, but is the key to undreamed of freedom and happiness. So, and then I just highlighted down there, toward the bottom, it says, first you must visualize the picture in your consciousness, then feel yourself to be in that state as though it actually formed, your surrounding world. I mean, he talked about too a lot throughout these chapters about how, literally like just thinking about them over and over and over again, and if you can imagine them, and truly feel like you are already there, it will attract to you, and you will eventually become exactly who it is that you wanted to be. So, um, yeah, sorry, I'll stop rambling now, but appreciate y'all. So you do. Mikhail kind of looks like he wants to go. We're gonna pass it to him if he's ready. If not, yeah. All right. So he's Donnie boy. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, man, Donnie with the flow.
What's popping on? Can y'all hear me? So, my connection's kind of booty. I'm on the road driving with no hands.
All over the place.
But the reason I was asking about the chapters is because I was listening to the audio on YouTube and Desire is not there. And I am consciousness, the assumption and the truth will set you free. So it skips that part. But in that a lot of everybody really talked about it, but knowing that I am regardless if you know or if you don't know who, what, and where you are, you know that you are, or I am, and you're yourself, and you create the reality that you live in through your consciousness of what it is that you allow your mind to focus on, and that leads into the truth of and the imagination of the feeling of being where it is that you want, the desired destination or place or the person that you want to be, and it all leads to that point in putting yourself there and making yourself and your consciousness to believe that you are that person long before that result and that desire has come to pass. And that's what the ultimate feeling is the secret. And like I've listened to a lot of Nano and seen how this book correlates also with the feeling is a secret. We don't know, I'll send that audio in, but there's an audio where he talks about these concepts of putting yourself and making yourself believe that you are that person already and acting like that individual long before you are that individual. So great book. It's going crazy. I was listening to it. I was like, whoa. But definitely excited for the next chapters. I'm going to go ahead and pass this thing to Josh.
Ha ha, how did I know? What's good, boy? What's good, everybody? Hope everybody's having a blessed Saturday. It's a beautiful day. Shout out to the people making moves in Minnesota. And y'all gonna do big things. I already know. Y'all gonna go kill it. Concert, the tour. I'm definitely gonna be at the Dallas show. No doubt. If y'all have one. I didn't know if y'all had one going or what. But with that being said, all in all, with the book, first couple of chapters, I'm just gonna tie it all together. Power of awareness is crazy. I know that me and Marcus McKell were on a call and we were talking about like me being aware of like where I'm at right now and where I was before joining TGF and actually just taking the steps that I've always thought about, but I never actually took them. So just being aware of like where you're at is crazy in itself because sometimes people don't really realize like how far they've come. They're always stuck in the past and like wanting to be further in life than they are right now. But truly, you've already gone further. So just being aware of where you're at right now is amazing and powerful itself. But just noticing that like once you're aware of where you're at, it just pushes you to go and do more because you know you've already taken the steps to move forward and to go further in life. So the first couple of chapters, just to tie it all together, my favorite part was imagination and assumption. Having imagination is really a big thing because you don't know, or your brain doesn't know what's real and what's not. And when we were younger, man, we all had an imagination where things were, visible in the real world. Our imagination was real. And as we've grown up, our imagination has gone away. And I feel like if we tap back into our imagination, we can just live what we've actually dreamt of living. And soon enough, they'll become a reality. Because me personally, a vision and an imagination is straight from God because everybody has a different imagination and vision for their life, their goals, their ambitions. And you don't know what those are for anybody else except for yours because God gave you yours specifically for you because he knows that you're a perfect fit for that life and for that vision and imagination that you have. So it's definitely a thing to chase unless, he makes a vision come about to where you need to change routes. It's happened to me multiple times. I thought I was gonna be, in the bar scene and food industry for a long time because I started when I was 15 in the food industry, and then all of a sudden I'm in construction, which is a totally different thing, working outside, hard labor. So I had to learn from square one when I started all that. And then he changed my vision again to where I was wanting to become more of a social influencer and that type of thing when I grew up the shyest kid in the room. So now with me becoming an influencer and being the person to inspire and motivate is a vision straight from God, because he knew what I went through, and he knows that if I can inspire others, it's going to change their view on, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. And that's the same thing with like mentors in our space, in our networking space. As you see them, their vision was from God to become, leaders of TGF, Marcus and Mikkel. And now when we see them, they're like, oh, if they can do it, we can do it. So it's just about being aware of who you're around and seeing that if anybody can do it, you can also do it as well. So you just got to stick to that and stay moving forward with the vision that God has given you. So it was awareness, imagination, and then my last favorite thing was assumption. Like I said, just assuming that you're already living that life that you've talked about, because as you assume it in your head, it's just going to become more of a reality thing. The surroundings of your life will change. You'll start seeing the things that you've always talked about more and more. To be honest, like I've been seeing a lot more things around me in my life that I've also spoken into existence and talked about, like sports cars. I want to get a Corvette soon, and I've been seeing them all over my city, Dallas, like everywhere I go. Every time I'm in a car or my truck, like I see one. So it's just being aware of what's surrounding you because you've talked about it. Just like being a part of a team to push me towards my goals and ambitions. Like I've talked about it, and now I'm a part of one, and it's going to be bigger than what I know. Just because God has bigger plans. Like what we're having a tour with our artists. Like I never even thought about that being a thing when I joined this. I was just like, okay, it's just a group, Bible study, this, that, and that. And we've already had multiple events that I've been to. And it's just a blessing from God, honestly, and a vision that I'm willing to just live through and make a reality. So with that being said, book is going to be a very powerful one. I'm definitely going to just listen over and over again because how short the chapters are. That way you can get it instilled in your brain and not just listen to it a couple times. I was listening to a audio one day. E.T., I forget his full name, but he does mainly like with sports teams and colleges and stuff like that. He was talking about reading a book. He's like, I don't want you to read a book once. I want you to read it 100 times, read it paid 100 times, because that way you'll actually get what's being said and get the value from those chapters, those books. Because if you read a book one time, you're not going to get it. And that's why it's good to reflect on what you read and do things like that. That way you really understand what you've just read and how you could put that into perspective and put it into action. So this book is a hope y'all have a great day, good rest of y'all's weekend. I'm gonna toss it to
Can I take it? Can I take it?
toss to Matthew. Yes, ma'am. You sure can.
Okay.
I was like, Josh,
I think-
you're not disrespect my mama, bro. I'm just kidding,
You're
bro.
not disrespecting me. You're not disrespecting.
Never that. Never that. Never that.
I just my granddaughter's about to start her game, so honestly, this book, like Amber, I had to reread it because I felt like I was reading a Dr. Seuss book at some points. You know what I'm saying? But the first chapter, I did write down just some notes. It states here, I am is the self-definition of the absolute foundation on which everything rests. It's the self-definition of God. I really like how
he added that in there because, in all honesty, you know, God did make us who we are and who we prove to believe who we are. I had noted here, it's a feeling of permanent awakeness. The very center of consciousness is the feeling of I am. So just with that being said, I've never really dove deep into these actual words until a couple of years ago when I started my my personal development. But everything kind of, the way he has these chapters kind of all include with each other and kind of bring everything into one, with chapter 2 going into consciousness. You know, the first chapter, it states it's only by a change of consciousness, by actually changing, you concept of yourself. Consciousness is the arrangement of your mind, and your mind. Oh, this wind is blowing. My pages are going everywhere. Sorry, guys. It's always arranged in the image of all you believe and consent to as true. Like, who you actually believe what you are is who you are, which is who I am. The chapter 3, the power of assumption. I did like this sentence and I wrote it down. It says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. All transformation begins with an intense burning desire to be transformed. And desire, as we know, is into this next chapter, which is the first step that's needed, that we must want different, and intend to be before we can begin to change our minds. Then we must make our future dreams a present fact. You do this by assuming that, assuming the feeling of your wish being fulfilled. So, you know how they say they state that what are your desires of your heart? That is something that takes as our first step to be able to actually really bring into what our truth is about who we actually believe who we are, which is, you know, when we assume the feeling of fulfillment of our desires until we possess by it and fills the crowd of all ideals out of our consciousness. So, like, we really have to believe what type of desires it is that, you know, the Lord has planted in our hearts. And, you know, in all these years, I've never really done that. It's taken me really digging deep, and like, you know, Josh had the conversation with Mikkel and Marcus about really understanding how far you've come and how far those desires that you've put to take and put into action. So just leading into chapter 5, the truth that sets you free. It says, I write down, since our life is determined by our assumptions, you are forced to recognize the fact that you are either a slave to your assumption or their master. The key to undreamed of freedom is to be a master of your assumptions. So I am looking forward to this book. It's definitely have my wheels turning in my head. So whoever wants to go next is more than welcome. I don't know who's gone.
Mom, go peep my comment in the chat.
Mama looking like royalty in the oh, honey. I love you, babe.
No, I love you. I'm super proud of you. Really am.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think Kelsey said she wants to go.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, y'all. I was getting a phone call and I thought I ended the phone call, but I ended the Zoom. So I stole a laptop. Holy smokes. Y'all, I've read this book. I was just telling them inside. I've read this book a couple times and I'm in the same boat as most of everyone. I read this thing so slow because it's very dense and very specifically worded. So, but like I said, I've read it a couple times and absolutely love it. I first got it when I first joined network marketing because Nano Torres was going over it on his morning sessions and fire. So a couple highlights that I've had, just literally even on the first page, chapter 1, the last couple of sentences. I am is a self-definition of the absolute, the foundation of which everything rests. I am is the first cause substance. I am is the self-definition of God. And then I wrote a little footnote on the bottom of the page. It says, I am begins creation, whatever follows is. And so I think a couple people touched on it. Amber touched on it. Your words are so powerful. So if you're sitting here, saying your affirmations, positive things about yourself, following that statement of I am, that's what comes to fruition. But at the same time, if you're saying, I am broke, I am sick, I am angry, like those are all, situations that are happening, but, you just have to be super careful of what you follow I am with, because it's such a powerful thing that, a lot of people don't understand. And then they're sitting here wondering why their life is the way it is sometimes. And then chapter 2, consciousness, really just knowing that whatever you want to happen, it first has to be changed within your mind. And I think that kind of flows into a couple of the other chapters as well, the power of assumption. Nano used to do this meditation visualization thing before some of the calls back when I first started. And that was one of the big ones where it literally walked you through, visualizing the home that you want to live in, visualizing, the clothes that you're wearing, visualize, like literally feeling what those clothes feel like on your skin. And that's really, in chapter 3, what that's kind of getting at. And a big thing that I highlighted, a thing mentally by looking at it from the outside, by comparing it with other things, by analyzing it and defining it, whereas something spiritually only by becoming it. And so, yes, you can, physically experience something, you can physically, be someone, but, to truly be able to transform into that and truly become it. Why should I brought my sunglasses out here? I'm facing the sun hardcore. But to fully become it, you have to, get into that spiritual side of it as well. And that's where the power of assumption is, super key. And so that was kind of a couple, key points from these 5 chapters. Super short. I really liked, I don't know, Marky, I really liked the combination of these 5 chapters. They really flow super well together. But yeah, I think Matt and Marky are the last ones to go, I believe. So whoever.
Man, I know Amy's about to play, bro. So if you want to share something real quick.
I'll grab those bananas out of there.
Matt, you good? She might already started playing.
Mateo!
Did she already start playing ball? Yeah. Okay. No worries. I'll take that thing. We'll wrap up.
It would be long-winded.
There's no way. Okay. Golly. My turn to go outside. All right. Garrett. So what's good, y'all? I appreciate everybody's insight. The book is extremely powerful. And as Kelsey was saying, I first heard of it from this man, Neno Torres. And I've been wanting to read it for a long time. I actually got gifted this book by a friend of mine who was really big into personal development. And he sent me the book as just like a friendly gesture. I had told him how much I wanted to read it and how I was like looking into actually getting it. This man sent it to me via Amazon. Shout out my guy, Josh, man. So not Josh Carroll, sorry, bro, not you. But anyways, shout out you too, bro. I'm not disregarding you. You're an amazing man. Anyways, with that being said, I don't want to like repeat a lot of what has been said already. I just know how extremely powerful the words I am are. I just wanted to relate to it a little bit and let you guys know, like, whenever Mikhail and I first started this journey of like, all right, bro, we're going to do this thing together, meaning put our mastermind principle to use and really go and look for people that want to also create a positive, empowering, faith-driven environment where people can be, where people can have an opportunity to really become who they truly want to be and have the environment conducive enough to actually get there. And when we did, every time we really referenced to the book of Exodus in the Bible, where Moses got told by God to go and set his people free from these pharaohs. And Moses was like, bro, what do you mean? Like, these are gods amongst their people, and you want me to go and tell them that their slaves need to be free? Like, who am I? Like, what do I need to tell them? Okay, but like, what do I need to tell them in order to actually make this happen? And what was amazing was God responded, just tell them that I am sent you. And the biggest thing about it is that when it comes to the essence of what I am is, and in the book, I highlighted what I wanted to touch on. I am is the self-definition of God. I am that I am. The awareness of being starts with you understanding that God lives within you. And I know I've spoken to everybody on here and everybody believes in a higher power. Everyone also believes in the ability to know that God moves on their behalf. And if you believe in that as a basis, you also have to understand and believe that when it comes to the actual Bible and the words of what it says, like, you have God within you. So whatever you affirm yourself to be, you're not fully just defining yourself as it, but you're creating the world around you because of it. And it really sets the tone, and it allows you to actually be in the rooms and allow people to also understand that which you stand for and that which you are in your essence. So super important, as Kelsey was talking about, to be mindful of what words you put after I am. I was talking to my sister not too long ago, and she was talking about, like, I'm broke, bro. And I used to say that all the time. I'm like, nah, we are not broke. Our funds are in transition, period. I am prosperous and abundant, and there's nothing else that'll change that. And my sister was like, yeah, whatever, bro. It's just my bank account does not reflect what it is you're saying. And I was like, I understand, but you need to know that in time it will. And that's what I loved about the progression of the chapters as well, because he really spoke about how that in terms of your consciousness, it's in its own, and it's truly the only reality that you know. So based on your thoughts, based about what you think and what processes you entertain will determine everything around you. You and your world are one. Meaning you not only have the power to impact, you not only have the power to influence your environment, but you also are influenced by it as well. That's why I say continuously, like, you are not a tree. Get up and move. Like, If you cannot change the people around you, change the people around you. You have power to actually be around those that help feed your mind, feed your reality, feed your consciousness, the ideas, the thought processes that are conducive to create a life that you fully want based on a subjective center, not an objective center. So as you're reading that, some people might not know the difference. I learned it throughout my medical career that there are subjective symptoms and objective symptoms when people are sick. Objective symptoms, there's no room for interpretation. It is what you see. So objectively, I see that you have a rash on your arm. I see that you were vomiting. Subjectively, you feel weak. Subjectively, you don't feel energetic, right? What he's saying, especially in the chapter of consciousness, is that as you move within your entirety, have it from a basis of subjective consciousness, not objective, meaning the world around you might seem as it is, but it's only because of the thoughts that you've had. Change your thoughts, you change your reality around you. You'll attract those things, you'll attract the energy, and it's actually very much scientifically proven. At the end of the chapter, I just want to touch on this, bro, because he talked about demagnetized and magnetized states and molecules within electrons, neutrons, atoms at this essence. And if you understand the principles behind it, especially like go and reread the end of the chapter, but he really said that the substance is a magnet. Magnetism is not generated, it is displayed. The importance of this in your daily life should be immediately apparent. So he's not saying like you need to think about it and then maybe implement. He's saying now that you know because you've read and you understand, even in the slightest bit, start to implement right away because you'll be able to magnetize the things around you that you're thinking about. Your thoughts are literally substance in your brain. It takes up space. It's matter. Matter is made up of atoms, period. You got electrons, neutrons, protons, and its basis. You will attract the things that your thoughts are. It's how we have water. It's how we have air. So if you understand that truth, the truth will set you free. And then the power of assumption, I loved what my mom was talking about. I love what everybody's been talking about. But in a sense, I always refer back to what Jesus really said, and he quoted it. He said, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Your thoughts cannot change unless you have new ideas, for you think from your ideas. All transformation begins with an intense burning desire to be transformed. So by desiring to be other than what you are, you can create an ideal of the person you want to be and assume that you are already that person. And then you will attract the thing. So it's so important to understand the concept of if I'm going to be, I need to first become, and then I do, and then I have. And that's why in order to have a change of consciousness, it's necessary before you can change your outer world around you. If you want things differently to be different around you, you need to be differently inwardly so that the inward affects the outward. And then you can be put in those places. You can be in the right mindset. You can be in the right emotional state, and you can be in the right belief system to get you to where you're going, regardless of what it is that's around you or what facts may erode the faith you need to go and step and take that leap of faith in that next part of your journey, because it happens at every consecutive level of your process of becoming that person. Desire, I always reference back to desire as the starting point of all achievement. And as our guy Neville was honestly writing, he was letting you understand that your desire influences your assumptions. Your assumptions are influenced by your thoughts. So in a sense, your desires, if you navigate your thoughts and you digest what it is you're thinking and you think about what you're thinking about, most people just understand what they're thinking of. But if you think about what you're thinking about, you'll have a clarity of mind on who you are and you'll identify with it. And then you'll become. And that desire for that will be burning because it's clear. Most people don't have a desire because they're not clear on what it is that they want or who they are. If you take the time to be clear about what you want and who you are, you will therefore know exactly what you want out of life. And that burning desire will guide you and allow you to understand, and in my belief, what the Spirit is trying to actually get you to go and accomplish. So yeah, just a reminder, y'all, you must imagine that you are already experiencing what you desire. And that will lead to the promise of its own fulfillment. I want to repeat that just one more time, just in case you didn't fully read or you missed it. You must imagine that you are already experiencing what you desire. Desire becomes the promise of its own fulfillment. So what he's saying is, the moment you desire it, the moment you're clear and it's in your head, it's already yours. If you don't have it yet, it's because you need to change into the person that is required to go and have it. And that starts at the foundation of what thought processes you're entertaining and what actions come out of the processes that you're focused on. And then the last chapter, The Truth That Sets You Free. Where is it? He said, it's honestly wild. You hold in your hands the key to the solution of all your problems. When you understand that every phase of your life is made by the exercise of the imagination, it is the beginning and end of all creating. The great secret is controlled imagination and a well-sustained attention, firmly and repeatedly focused on the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it fills the mind and crowds all other ideas out of your consciousness. The truth that sets you free is that you can experience in imagination what you desire to experience in reality. And by maintaining this experience in imagination, your desire will become an actuality. That was probably one of the most powerful things I've ever read, because I learned in my studies in school that the human brain does not know the difference between imagination, nor does it know the difference between reality. So if you can think clearly with your imagination, it will set you free, because your desire to experience that reality and maintaining that experience in your head will create the physiological responses, will create the circumstantial things that you see around you to help you have that imagination become your reality. And I don't know, man, I just love the way that God works. I love the way that, in a sense, my entire life, I've never moved more on what I feel as though God has told me to do and where he's told me to step. And as long as I put my trust in him, I've been able to trust what it is that I've seen, the actuality between the facts that are spoken about and agreed upon through millennia, that are agreed upon through different type of customs, and people that are agreed upon between people who go and achieve high levels of not just success, y'all, but I'm talking about fulfillment, of peace, of gratitude, of love. And if we stay focused on that and we allow that to create what it is that we truly want, watch our entire lives change. And if you want a real life example that is possible, like, again, just take an inventory on where you started before we actually agreed to walk on this journey together, and how far you've really came today to this point. And then understand that it's only been a product of the thoughts that you've entertained, the imagination that you've put in your brain, the actions that you've taken, and the belief that you've put behind it. And it's led you to be exactly where you're at. And it's a great position to be in, because you're in a space of creativity and of seeking and finding and asking and receiving and knocking, and the door being open. So I love you guys. I'm just grateful that everybody honestly got some value from it. I think Mikhail is ready, so I'm gonna let him close this out, and then we'll talk about what chapters are for next week. But appreciate y'all. But boo, go on, Mikhail. I'll give you some time, big dog.
What up, y'all? Hopping. I definitely just got out of the shower. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, Marcus.
I thought you were ending. I was ready, and I was like, oh, he's about to keep going. So I started the oil, got half my body oiled up. We good. I'm saying, my people. But with that though, this book and you guys been going ham this morning, and I appreciate y'all for it. Truly, like it's dope to be able to recognize these things, and it's wild how we always talk about alignment. I've just had some conversations and recently been putting out some fires that I definitely had to become very aware of, like what I have, who I am, what we got going on, the leverage that we have, and like what we come to the table with. And it took some like real introspective looking to do that. And it was dope. And as I was reading this book, it really just reminded me of a guy that Joey talked about, if anybody was on the momentum call that he did earlier this week. But he talked about a guy named Johnny Wimbrey. When I went to my first ever, it was an event called Millionaire Boot Camp. It was a fire event, but I ended up sneaking away from the whole squad. I drove my own car all the way from Minnesota to Vegas to get to this event. And when I got there, I just kind of got away from the whole squad, ducked off on my own, and went and caught some moments. And one of the moments that I caught, I happened to find my way to like the part of the arena that was right behind the stage. And it was like a raised arena. So it felt like I was on stage because the entire arena was looking at the stage. It was a crazy feeling. And I have a picture of this moment somewhere deep. I might throw it in the book club call or the book club group. But I was behind a guy who got on stage and did a talk. And that guy's name was Johnny Wimbrey. And that talk was winners versus winners. And while he was giving that talk, he said one bar that just really stuck with me as you guys were all talking. And it was inspect what you expect. Now, Johnny Wimbrey is Sachin's mentor. Johnny Wimbrey is a person who's created hundreds of millionaires. He literally helped start the Steve Harvey show as well with Steve Harvey, had his own show previous to, all around successful man and a majorly successful network marketer as well. And with that, Johnny just talked about inspecting what you expect. And one thing that this book literally talked about as well was just that. And it gave a great breakdown on how to do what Marcus was just talking about. Think about what you're thinking about. And so it was fire. And I just wanted to read it to everybody real quick. Hold on, I gotta find it first. Boom, boom, boom. Therefore, bow, bow. All right, cool. Boom, boom, boom. So, if false, note the man who is not prepared. Boom, boom. Assumptions in a way. Now, here it is. All right, cool. So, how do you inspect what you expect? How do you think about what you're thinking about? First off, just take a second, clear your mind, and then do this. Form a mental image, a picture of the state desired, of the person you want to be. Concentrate your attention upon the feeling that you are already that person. First, visualize the picture in your consciousness. Then feel yourself to be in that state as though it actually formed your surrounding world. And by your imagination, that was which a mere mental image will be changed into a seemingly solid reality. Like you've got to literally take a second and put yourself there. Period. And while you do that, one, that's the beginning. And then you've got to continuously do this every single day. I wake up and go do this every single day. Period. I do it when I talk to y'all. If y'all ever notice, whenever we like bring up new ideas, like we'll have a million conversations with them, about the idea, because I'm obsessing myself with the idea. I'm assuming that identity. And as you go forward in a way to do what else Marcus was talking about, and like actually changing your ways, actually changing your consciousness, you have got to assume that new identity, and then you've got to act as if. Like you've got to be like, yo, I know that my old self could never rent out a venue and pack it with 300 people, but my new self, the person I desire to be, definitely could do a venue, rent that thing out, pack it out with 300 people and put on a whole show. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to act like him. And it pushes you to do more than you thought that you could do as your old self. And in doing that, you push your boundaries. In doing that, with those actions that have stemmed from those feelings that have really stemmed from like really your awareness and the identity that you assumed. In doing that, you'll hit the next level. And that's why I think that he really put that chapter in there, like the truth will set you free. Because if you actually apply everything that he talked about, it's going to push you to the next level. It's going to take you to that next level of action so that you can actually go and achieve what you want to do. It's super dope, honestly. And as I was reading the chapters, it just really reminded me of a conversation I was having with my parents this morning, because we were talking about some fires that I'm putting out with the venue and just really breaking down like how much money we're making them and how everything breaks down. And they were like, man, what you need to do is you need to just come out here to Vegas and rent out a hotel, because they're only going to charge you 5-10 a night. You get 64 rooms and you do a whole event in their ballroom because it looks fire and it's a boutique hotel. And I thought about it and I was like, dang, 64 rooms? I could sell out 64 rooms. And then I started putting the number together and I was like, man, all I had to do was just think about it like I could do it bigger. And then I realized that we can do it bigger. And that's a trick that I've always used in my professional career over the years. It's literally what we did as we've gone and done things like Unlimited, things like this event, things like everything that we've done here as TGF, renting out stupid fat mansions. When we looked at the mansion, we knew that we couldn't afford it on our own, but we knew if we think a little bit bigger than us and assume a bigger identity, we can afford it together. And we started moving like that. Then all of a sudden we're in mansions in Arizona, we're in mansions in Orlando, we're at high rises in Austin. Now we're doing events out here in Austin. Now we're doing events out here in Minnesota. Like all it literally is just assuming that next level identity. So as we move forward in this state of creating momentum, because that's really where we are as a squad right now. We're all in motion, creating momentum. As we do that, assume the position of the next level. And as we move forward, I feel that if you really assume that position, you kill your old self from behind and you really go forward knowing exactly who God is, knowing exactly who you are as well, being one of his children. Man, I'm telling you, there's literally nothing that you cannot do. Period. Back in the day, I used to be selling somebody else's services back in the day and be like, man, there was nothing I thought I could do more and bigger than that. And then we started to do it. There's nothing that you cannot do because God blessed you with an amazing imagination. So you've got to take some time and use it and get very clear. When I was speaking to some artists yesterday, they said, hey, these artists for our label, they're like, hey, what do you think that we should focus on the most? I looked at them dead in the eye. I said, I need you to take a second today, cut out all the distractions and get clear. Like get extremely clear on what you want to do going forward. Because clarity, you have to get awareness to get clear. You have to take a second to think about what you're thinking about. You have to take a second to assume the next identity. You have to take that second. And then from there, you'll start to walk in it, as I talked about at Unlimited. So I really appreciate y'all for going in. I appreciate everybody's insight for the book, because y'all been snapping the entire time. So it's dope to hear everybody's outlook on this thing. It's dope to see everybody that read this thing this morning. So I appreciate the vibes. Marcus, I'm gonna pass it to you to close out. Let us know what chapters we on for next week. Let's go get it
Hey,
cracking.
before
Yes.
y'all close it out, can I just say something that is probably a little controversial, but it's been a thought that's been, crossing my mind for a really long time. Is like, if we are and everything is, and we're a collective, we are a part of God, right? So in Christianity, we're taught that we are, a manifestation of God, or maybe not in those exact words, but we are God. We are God. We are like all a unit. So I know it's like hard for people to, think about, because a lot of us are Christian and stuff. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Like listening to this book is like, oh shit, that's like an even higher state of consciousness, because we are like if you think about it, we are in that space. So
Yeah.
I didn't know if anybody had that thought come across.
No, it's real life. And honestly, here's my thing, because I've been rereading the books of the gospel, which is Jesus' story. And at the end of the day, this man embodied all of these principles from jump. Before he even stood on the cross and really died for our life, he outwardly talked about it and prepared himself and assumed that and let people understand exactly the essence of who he is, because in our faith, he's a Trinity. You know what I'm saying? The Son, the Spirit, and God are all one. So with
Right.
that, he demonstrated manifesting. He demonstrated being in tune with your thoughts, transforming your mind, and then focusing on the lifestyle that you want to create through service of other people in terms of helping others get into the kingdom for eternity. That was his main goal while he was here. Like, it's why he died. If he didn't come, and he had multiple times, multiple opportunities to not be taken on the cross. There was a time where the Roman governor of the area where they arrested him gave the people an opportunity to go and actually set him free, and they decided to set Barbados free instead of Jesus. Barbados was a murderer, Jesus was not. And in that process, the Roman governor had asked Jesus, like, why do you not speak up? And Jesus said, I have assumed this identity of who I've been called to be, the sacrifice, the sacrificial lamb, that I will see it until the end of its completion. And everything that has happened, and he prophesied, happened because he really embodied all of these ideals. He had a burning desire to love his kids and his people. It's why he sent himself to die. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's controversial at all. I think it's in alignment to everything that's been talked about, because the more I've
Yeah,
dove,
I'm fine. I'm fine.
the more I've dove into the Bible, the more I've understood how apparent it is that he wants you to have the life of your desires. He knows the desires upon your heart before you even speak it, period. So, one, I don't think it's controversial. I think it's right in tune. And then two, like, because we're made in his image and we have those same abilities, like, we can literally go and become and do anything that we truly want. We just need to be mindful of our intentions behind it, so that
That's fact.
whenever we get there, we're doing right by the people, we're having the mission. That's why, honestly, we keep God at the center in everything we do, and why we're a faith-driven community, because we know that, because we've assumed that we deserve it, and we know that to be eventually true, we're going to have it and receive it. We need to ensure that we're using it in the right way, and that we're taking care of it, and that our heart posture is behind what God says, not what we want. And that'll set
Yeah.
up part to where it is we're really going. So I don't know if that answered your question, but I felt like we're right in tune.
Oh, it wasn't a question. It was a statement. It was a statement that I realized that we are, like, if this book is real, which I 100% believe in it, it's like we are God. We are the, like, pieces of God here on earth to do certain things, whether it's, well, to me, it's like whether it's good or bad, because everybody has a purpose, but it's like we are just like pieces all here, like, kind of wanting to get back. So I was just wondering if anybody else had that thought come across their mind.
No, I just one more on that too. To what you were just saying, it does. I can't remember the verse exactly. I'm terrible at memorizing the verses, but it does say, like, for I know the purpose that I have for you. The plans that I have for you. Yes, sir. Just read it, and then to speaking on how the book sort of correlates with the Bible. Proverbs 23:7. He said, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so he is." And that's honestly, when I first started reading this book, is exactly what I thought about. Is because literally you can create the life that God intended you to live and that you would like to live just by simply putting your faith and trust in Him, and then putting in the work behind that faith to manifest it into your own life. So, yeah, I don't know.
I think the reason that most people get it controversial is because there's a difference in, and like Marcus said, it comes down to your intention behind the meaning of the saying, I am God. Because there's some people that think, I am God, I am the source of everything that happens in my life. And that is not true. You are a resource of everything that happens in your life. God is the source. You're used as a resource. So, like, there's like a difference in I am versus like I am. Like, my hand is my hand and it's a part of me, but like I'm not a hand. You know what I'm saying? So, like, God's not one of us. We are an extension of Him, period. And He says that He made us in His image. We are an extension of Him. He uses us as a vessel, the whole 9 yards. But I think that's where like mainly the controversy ends up. And people just don't be, sometimes you just got to check people come from. You know what I'm saying? That's really all it be. And like, I think that's really like the main thing, but all of it is really subjective because it all comes down to your own understanding, period, of the words that you read. And that's what's going to come out the mouth. And that's what's going to cause the beliefs and everything in between. So
Yeah.
no, I honestly think that we all are an extension, no matter what.
Yeah.
We do have the power to create, but it's really like more so recreate.
Well, I
From
just
what
wanted
we
to throw that out there. Y'all, just gotta switch it up, add a little splash to it. So thanks for listening and thanks for engaging too, because it's
Bro, that
always
was a
nice
great
to
splash.
Yeah.
get, I like to get real deep into it. So
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's the point. That's the point.
And I have not had the pleasure of meeting you yet, but it is nice to meet you and see your face. So.
I can't see yours.
Oh, you can't? Hold on.
No.
What?
You can't?
The whole time?
Oh, hi. No, like I heard the voice. I was listening, but I didn't see the face. I was like, oh, okay, it's a message. It's coming down from nowhere. It's coming down from everywhere. But yeah, you'll probably meet me. I pop up here. I pop up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she was at Unlimited.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I didn't get a chance
Yes.
to come there, but I appreciate you. I love your energy, by the way. It's definitely.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I like yours too. I called on you, right? You're Austin?
You did.
Yeah. I don't know why I wanted to call on you either. I was like, you know what? We're gonna switch it up. I don't know him, so let's do it.
That's good. I appreciate it.
But yeah, I picture everything.
I didn't know.
We're gonna be reading chapter 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 for next week. Yeah, basically 5 more chapters, and then we'll discuss that same time. But I appreciate everybody. Much love.
We'll see you next.
Bye, y'all. Bye. Have fun.
Hasta luego.
Make you proud, baby. You know the vibe. Later.
Yeah.